today it's about my seven club, my line brother, my seven club. He was my back, right? He's my brother and just God's people, right? But my man, he's doing the work. He's doing the work. He's a positive light out here. And I couldn't be more just thankful and happy to have him on today. He goes by the name of Peace Hakuna. Some may know him as Tristan Thompson, but he is the founder of Black History is Everywhere, period. Tristan, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you, brother. I can hear you. Hey, welcome to Kinda Scripted, bro. Sorry for
what's up, man? Nah, no problem, man. I see you was passionate about what you was talking about, man.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, brother. So today, Tristan, I know you're the founder of Black History is Everywhere, period. And, I really want to break that down. This being the first episode of, hashtag Kinda Scripted the Revolution, because the time is now. There was no better person and brother to set this thing off with Black History is Everywhere, period. Because, hey, yeah, we said it doesn't matter your color, age, gender, ethnicity. If you know the information, you can get busy. But hey, as Dr. King said, the Negro, right, is disproportionately at risk. So we got to make sure that, hey, set the tone with black woman, black man of America. Your time is now. You're in the promised land. We have what we need. So, brother, if you could just introduce yourself a little bit, self a little bit so the people can get an idea of who you are, brother.
So what's up, everybody? As he said, I'm Tristan. I go by Peace Hakuna. I'm here from Atlanta, and I'm here from Georgia, Atlanta, and I'm the business owner of Black History is Everywhere, period. And pretty much, we've been doing that brand for almost about a year. The good thing about the brand is it originally started off, which it still is, that's the core of the brand, is providing our community with that information that we don't get in institutions here in America. And as the brother stated, it's one of those things where we have to do it ourselves. We can't depend, we can't ask, we can't wait on someone else to provide information, whether it regards to finance, how to live, how to eat, how to farm, whatever it is to sustain life here. We have to do it ourselves, and we have to teach our children that same thing. So that's where the brand stems from. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in today, and I appreciate the brother sharing this platform so we can get this message out in abundance on what we need to do as far as resolutions.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. So tell me a little bit about the brand name, right? Where exactly does that come from?
So the brand name is Black History is Everywhere, period. I had a few different inspirations for the brand. First, of course, is the older I got, the more I seen and the more information that I start to learn, I say to myself, damn, I learned none of this information while I was attending an institution, whether it was elementary school, middle school, high school, the college level. I'm like, wow, like I went through all of this school and I haven't learned any of this small piece of information about myself and my ancestors, whether it's about my own personal family or the Black people out in the world, which through thorough research, are the Aboriginal people across the world. So traveling the world was the other part of that, from going to Germany, to Australia, to all these different places, and learning that Black people were the Aboriginal people there. I'm actually talking to the people who are in tune with their ancestors. And that's something that I realized as well too. Here as well in the United States, but everywhere, a couple of different places that more people are in tune with their ancestry, which also led me to do the same and start tracing my generational or my ancestry tree. I'm as far back as about the mid 1800s. So that in itself alone did something for me. It inspired me, being able to find out some of my ancestors were some of the first to do certain things. So that's kind of essentially where the brand stemmed from. And what we wanted to do is get that message out to the adults, as well as the kids, of course, to build that empowerment, to build that encouragement. And so the Black kids, and like I said, us adults, because realistically speaking, we weren't used to seeing a lot of our heroes and sheroes of the past. So it's something that I wanted to instill in us, of course, so it passed down to those children.
Bars. So, brother, I'll tell you. So what changed my life is when I actually started to study self, right? It was about, when was Ferguson? So 2013, 2014, when the whole Ferguson stuff was happening. By this time, it's like you already knew the response. There was going to be, outcry, whoopty whoop, right? And I was just like, what are we going to do differently, right? Because it's first of all, what are we going to do differently? I felt like it started with self, right? And for me, I grew up as, I would be real, like I just didn't learn about self like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then moving to Georgia, in Paulding County, like it wasn't many people like that. And if they're not teaching it in the city, like they're definitely not teaching it in Paulding County. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
it really, I was an adult when that whole Ferguson thing happened. I just stopped and, started to learn from self, from the ancestors, at that time, heavy Dick Gregory, and, let that, rabbit trail go where it may. But yeah, bro, finding identity in self of who I was, just first of all, as a Black man, right? Like it made me, it gave me more beast mode as to, okay, like, if not me,
I know who I am. Because it's almost like before that, you think you know who you are, but you really don't. Because like you said, you have no identity and no sense of self, heritage, culture, or, things that come from our ancestors, whether it's our mom, our dad, grandparents, and the ancestors, of course, who showed us that we stand on today.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So now tell me, what does the brand represent, right? Black History is Everywhere, period. What does the brand represent?
So I got a question for everybody in attendance. If everybody, we just left from what society says is Black History Month, but myself and my brothers and sisters around me, we celebrate it all year. So I just want everybody to drop a 1 in the chat if you learned some new form of Black history as it pertains to the world, not just here in the States. And if everybody has a phone or a computer, just drop a 1 in the chat. But yeah, in regards to what the brand represents, Black history. So Black history is in the appliances we use. It's in the ideas that we execute. It's the culture that's absorbed by everyone. It's in the spaces that we exist. It was created and it stands for the Black culture and the contributions that we've impacted and shaped in regards to what you stated earlier, what we built. And not just here in America. This stems from across the world. And again, the more I traveled, it led me to do more research in other places, to be well versatile in essentially everyone. There's a quote, I forget, I'll tap into it in just a moment, but there's a quote that pretty much says that you want to learn the history of all people. And that way you're able to compile these stories and you're able to draw your own conclusions, because a lot of the times we're brainwashed and a lot of things are systemic. So you kind of go with the flow. You kind of don't question anything. You kind of, your parents didn't question anything, but the difference between the previous generations and today is we have more access to books. We have more access to the internet. We have more access to actually go back and talk to some of our elders. Like me, I go back and talk to my great aunt. I go back and talk to my aunt, and I ask those questions, and I ask them about our relatives. I ask them about our past. I say, how was my great great grandfather? How was my great great grandmother? How was my great aunt? How did they act? What did they die from? Because a lot of those things that we learn in regards to genetics, and especially in our community, we got diabetes, we got high blood pressure, we got glaucoma, and all of these things. And myself and having a daughter, it made me think about like, wow, I have no idea what runs in my family, what genetics we have, what we've died from in the past. So I know I kind of went off on that, but just like I said, pretty much, that's what the brand represents. The Black history is everywhere, and it's in everything that we do. And that's one of the main things I'll definitely tap in with it more, is that I want to push forward more of our ancestors who were inventors and entrepreneurs. Because when we say that we're the first to do something, it almost is in that gray area of this is the first time that a white society has allowed this Black person to be the first. And whether it could be that someone was already the first, but it's not just being publicized or it's not just being accepted. So a lot of the times I like to push for our inventors and our entrepreneurs who, of course, essentially, as we say in these days and times, got it out the mud, who kind of, went against what everybody else was doing and just grinding it out, which is a mindset that I'm trying to change every day, where, I'm not watching TV, or I'm not playing a game, or I'm not, doing something where, sometimes it can be considered to be having fun, but if I got a goal, I can reach that goal, and then I can do all those things that I consider entertainment.
Facts, brother. Facts. And so now tell us, because I want to go right back off of that, because you rolling. So what is the actual goal, right? What is the actual goal? Because I understand, what it represents, and now we understand where it comes from. And I think we get an idea of the big picture, but what is the actual goal of the brand?
So that's a great question, man. That's a question I get a lot. Like, what's the goal? Almost essentially like a purpose. So a couple of different goals. One goal is making sure that we preserve the Black culture. I'm not sure if it was it. No, I was talking to another friend of mine, and we were talking about the black and white pictures. Now, who started this or who creates this is no idea, because it doesn't matter, I guess, essentially. But the way it's put out is that these pictures of our ancestors are put in black and white, so it can seem like it's so far away from us, and it's not. So that's one thing, preserving our culture and sharing Black history. The other thing is, of course, inspiring self-sufficiency. The more we learn about our ancestors, the more we're empowered to do for self. The more we learn about our ancestors, the more we want to be an entrepreneur like our ancestors. The more we learn that they were, thinkers, that a lot of things were copied or stolen from them, the more that we have that sense of pride to be able to move forward. As you stated earlier, we have to be those examples. As well as installing that spirit of kinship as well, where I don't like to push the same narratives that I see other people outside of our race do. And sometimes I am a little on the extreme side, but I don't like to push those same narratives, because when I hear someone say something simple like Black people don't come together, and I say, however many people around, like it's 20 people here, we all come together. When we look, somewhere at a Million Man March, or when we look at the protests, like you said recently, I'm like, I can show you that picture. So like, I don't like to continue to push those narratives when we have examples where we are doing it. I personally don't believe there's going to be a case where there's 100%. There's always casualties of war, in a sense. And essentially, just to preserve our innovations that we've done in the past, for the most part. And then on top of that, like you said, as much as we don't like a capitalist environment, it's like you have to kind of play the game. You have to play the game. So with Black Histories Everywhere, we want to instill all of the history, so we're able to learn from our ancestors. How did they make money? Because that's the thing too. We don't know that a lot of our ancestors were making money. This is speaking from only what you learn in school. So we have to take the time when kids get out of school or in programs, or whether it's the YMCA, Boys and Girls Clubs. Of course, we got the internet now, that we're putting out more information as it pertains to us. We can't look to the schools to teach us. It's like you go talk to your parents, they tell you the same thing. Oh, they didn't teach us that. Their parents, they didn't teach us that. So it's like, who's going to stop just depending on the school, and who's going to teach these children other than what they learn in the schools about self?
Facts. That's powerful, brother. That's powerful. So now let me ask, so when it comes to starting to learn about self, right? Because you can get caught up in a rabbit trail, right? Just trying to figure it out because of, we live in an information age. What would you say to someone who, on not just why to learn this history, but how to learn this history?
So one way I say, kind of what I said before, where we want to learn history from all different areas. We want to learn it from the Europeans. We want to learn it from the Blacks, or whatever other nationalities or races out there. We want to learn from all different angles, and like I said, we want to do that so we compare and contrast. And for the most part, we've already learned their side of the story. So now it's time to learn our side of the story. And one of the things I like to do, I like it to keep it simple in regards to why we learn history. We don't want history to repeat itself. That's what we don't want. We also want to learn from those mistakes. If I don't know what has already happened, if I don't know what hasn't worked, then I'll continue to do the same thing. I think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. So that's what we don't want to do. And then one of the last things is we just want to know how great our ancestors were, because that's something that we're not taught. We're not taught about Mansa Musa, who's one of the richest Black men that ever were, who literally gave away money, gave away gold. Well, in that time, he gave away gold. So it's just so many people that we should be learning about for self. Like I said, for self-confidence, to know quick little story. So I could just remember just me being in school. And I was privileged enough to be from Atlanta, so my schools were all Black. But even though it's all Black and we're learning history, and I'm hearing these stories, which some of them we need, some of them we don't. And I'm putting my head down. I'm sad. And it's not. I'm trying to see if I want to say it might have been both, consciously and unconsciously. I'm learning about all these stories: slave, Jim Crow, fight, 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 kill, kill, kill. And I'm like, is that like that's and again that's systematically done to us from kindergarten to 12th grade. So it's like that's that amount of years of being told who you are from someone else's lenses. So that's kind of where your mind, it's hard to undo that. You know, think about that. 10, 12 years, you go to the college level, like it's hard to undo that. So that's why I say like my main purpose or my main goal is to start to get the children. So they're already to the point where I am 30 plus learning information, and I can cut that curve in more than half. And they're learning this information way earlier, so they can do the things that I'm doing way, later in life. They'll already have a head start.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And I mean, what they said, I think they said that brother Mansa Musa gave out so much gold for free that it threw up like the marketplace, right?
No,
like,
it did.
It really threw up the marketplace. So that's powerful, brother. So now let me ask, because this is a great kind of getting into kind of a little bit about what we're passionate about, because I think we have to identify self. Who are we? And like you said, once we identify who we are from our lens, right, the story from us by us, right, then we really start to have a different pride. And I think that's when we really start to understand, like, yo, that is my brother, that is my sister, right? And hey, together we can get busy because we were, right? Because before they really started, when we first got out and Juneteenth, we were all the tradespeople, right? We were doing okay. And we had our, what I always hear about is our Black Wall Streets, right? And so we hear about Tulsa all the time, but tell me a little bit more, about that, because, we've thrived before. They'll never tell you that we thrived and that, they were the reason why we're, you know what I mean? Because we're going to take ownership now, but tell me a little bit more about the different Black Wall Streets we had, because we were the skills people.
So yeah, great question, man. Great question. Because in my thought process, and reading a barrage of different books, one in regards to Black economics. I wish I had it up here so I can show y'all. But a lot of places we were thriving in, we were building, and were places that we actually called our home, which were actually called communities and not hoods or poverty-stricken areas. These were thriving places. A couple of places, and these are just the ones that I've researched and that I've learned about. We have Mound. Let me bring up my website as well so I can kind of share some insight with you all. But Mound Bayou, which is going to be in Mississippi. We have Seneca Village in New York. We have Jackson Ward, which is in Richmond, Virginia. We got Sweet Auburn Ave, which is here in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a Haiti district in North Carolina. And like I said, those are just a few of the places. Now, to give you guys or to paint a picture of these places had everything. When I say everything, I'm talking newspapers, grocery stores, supermarkets, restaurants, barbershops, hospitals, schools, gardens. They raise livestock. Whatever you see today, cleaners, shoe shine places, meat markets, whatever you can think of, we had it in our communities and we were self-sufficient. We didn't have to go outside for anything. I'm trying to think if I can think of any more places. I can't think of any more places right now, but how do I screen share, bro?
You should just be able to share your screen.
Let me see if it's at the...
You got that share screen.
Oh, there, that's okay, I see it. You're not sharing your screen, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay, cool.
I know it looks like my Nana's on here. She said, ironing board and the clock were both Black inventors.
it won't come up. So I'm gonna drop the website in here. You guys can kind of take a look at the website. The most important part is gonna be the about. So at the top, you'll be able to see where it says about. And then Black News is where essentially I post a lot of information in regards to the Black News. But yeah, a lot of these places were thriving.
Like in America, it's in San Francisco. They have 400 multi-million-dollar units. Listen to what I'm telling you. They have 400 in this beautiful glass structured building that makes you go,
oh. You sharing your screen, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, a lot of those places, I actually got something here on the wall. I'm glad she mentioned that. I know a lot of you guys have definitely seen this before, but it speaks to a lot of our inventors, Benjamin Banneker, the Almanac, Richard B. Spikes, Automatic Shift Gear, Bicycle Frame, I.R. Johnson, Henry T. Sampson, the cell phone. The cellular car phone. Garrett Morgan, the gas mask. I mean, and again, this is just a few names. The traffic light, which is Garrett Morgan. And like I said, just one of my favorite people is Granville T. Woods. He's like one of my favorite. But we just have so much to offer our children in regards to who they are that, we're doing them a disservice, myself included. I'm not exempt when we don't teach them about who our ancestors were on a grand macro scale as well as in our families. But yeah, the brothers showing the page. This is the brand. We have Black Histories Everywhere shirts. We got I've Been Black hats. And we have the Black and Proud shirts, which just instills a sense of pride when you're wearing the brand and what the brand stands for and what we want to leave as far as legacy for the kids. And honestly, I don't know where the internet is going. So also just to have places that are concrete where kids can go and learn information, because we don't know what they're going to do in regards to the internet, what they're monitoring. So definitely going to get this information into books as well. What I also did is I created a special code for today. I'm going to drop it in the chat as well. Wealth. Appreciate that, Bam, as well, man, for those kind words. And this is the special code if anybody wants to order something from the website. But yeah, that's pretty much the brand. If anybody got any questions, any concerns, if anybody got any information, because that's the thing, we're going to continue to learn. I'm learning every single day. I'm continuing to read. So this is a great book that I want a lot of people to learn. So what this book here taught me is that we think we know a lot of the problems that happen, but a lot of the problems that happen or go on aren't publicized. So when reading this book, I learned so much information that goes on behind closed doors, so to say. It's called Nobody by Mark Lamont Hill, The Casualties of America War on the Vulnerable, from Ferguson to Flint and beyond. And I learned so much information in regards to the Flint ordeal, learned a lot about food deserts and just the way the game is being played, and without us controlling or having any access to anything, that we can't essentially control it. But we can, as the brother said, we're at a time and a place where we can control things. My next step, which is I've already done it last year, is gardening. So I want to be able to teach us how to grow our own food where we don't have to go to the store, because that's one of my plans for this year, for the spring, for the fall, for the winter, that I don't want us to have to go to the store. We're plant-based, so we eat plants. We only eat plants. So I want us to be able to go in the backyard, and as we did again last year, and just grab the plants, bring them in, and eat them. So I want to create a recipe book. And I'm pretty strong too. A lot of people say, how can you stay at a substantial size, or where do you get your protein from? I do want to say do your research, because there's proteins in all vegetables. There's proteins in, of course, beans, lentils, chickpeas. There's a barrage of different places you can get your protein. And if anybody got any questions, definitely, I don't know if you can raise your hand. Yeah, you can raise your hand in here. Raise your hand. Send me a personal message here while we're still here. But that's all I have. You got any other questions for me, bro?
Yes, if you could share how people can get in contact with you, brother, in the chat. Whether it be through IG, Facebook, however you want people to be able to get in contact with you. But hey, brother, that is heavy. My My guy is over here showing his muscles. Relax.
Nah, I mean, I know that, bro. That's the first question when I tell people I only eat plants. Well, how do you get your protein? How are you going to stay? And most of us aren't bodybuilders. Most of us aren't football players. Most of us aren't in any type of sports. So it's just it kind of goes back to that, with how big you're trying to be, or what exactly are you trying to do.
Absolutely.
So I just posted the website, the Instagram. I'll post the email as well if anybody wants to email. Like I said, we're always open to sharing information. We're always open to correcting information. No one knows everything, so we're always learning. We're always willing to compare different information that we find. I may tell a story one way, you may tell a story a different way. And we gotta, of course, put that information together to try to decipher, what's correct or kind of form our own opinion. Something somebody said to me the other day is they said, a fact is just an opinion that a lot of people have already agreed on.
Bars. A fact is just an opinion that a lot of other people have already agreed upon. That's amazing, brother. That's amazing. Hey, thank you. Right, Tristan, peace, Hakuna, for your time, my